Welcome to the Wolfkeeper, a show that's just about everything that you could maybe think about, everything that you can feel that's inside of your heart. What I need for you to do right now is spend the next hour relaxing. Just stop your day before you go into 12 o'clock. And I just want y'all to close your minds, open your hearts, and relax and go on this journey with me. It's a beautiful place that you're about to go, because I want to make you feel, I want to just open you up and think about some things you never really thought about right now. The Wolfkeeper. Come on. Good morning, y'all. Come on. It's the Wolfkeeper Show. Get ready. Come on, let's go. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. It's the Wolfkeeper Show. Your boy Toriano, Sanzone. Yeah. Chanelly Nell. My boy Tyrone Scott somewhere rocking the Doogie Dogs. Denzel's in his house. Shacky Shack. And for all the people out there that love us, we love you back. Thank you all. Get ready for an amazing show with the Wolfkeeper. Get ready. Here we go. Chris.
Yeah, I'm here.
How you doing, brother?
All right. Thanks for having me on.
Welcome to the first episode of our new season of Wolfkeeper Time. I love technology because you helped me through a lot of different little grandpa moments, and we still.
It's all good. They keep changing it just to keep it interesting.
Man, technology's no joke, though, man. I swear.
You gotta keep up. You gotta keep up.
It's always something, man. It's like, we managing 14 different apps. I mean, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 phones, 2 laptops, and we're using right now. We're currently using 6 different apps going on right now. I honestly didn't get a lot of sleep last night because I was low key nervous.
Yeah.
Kind of, a little bit.
You're running your own broadcast studio.
You really are. You need like and then Chanel didn't help at all because she was out partying, kicking it, and
Not at all.
asking her for her help, and she's just like
First episode in August, and he's already bullying me, Chris.
I see that.
Not even a hello, good morning, how you
I
been?
know. Thanks for your help. Nice to talk to you again.
I mean, come on.
This show's about honesty and truth, and honestly, Chanel doesn't help me out a lot, but
Wow.
I keep her
Chris, if you know Toriano, you know he's hard to keep up with. So he's the one. Yeah.
I keep her on as a co-host because I love her and I like her. But anyway, I'm done rinsing.
He's done speaking his
Welcome
truth.
to Wolfkeepers, Chris. Good to have you.
Chris, what's up, brother?
I'm excited to be here.
Man, I'm glad you're here, man. And thank you to Chanel Nell. We love her. She does a lot of hard work. Thank you to Rejoice and the team. They work their butts off putting this together. And to the
Rejoice.
And Dana Humphrey's a beast.
Yes.
Dana Humphrey's a co-producer, so peace to Dana Humphrey for killing
Hey,
it.
Dana.
Man, thank you for everybody that's out there watching. So this is gonna be a phenomenal show because Chris Doobert, did I pronounce Doobert? Doobert. Chris Doobert. We've had the opportunity to talk on the phone. We met through a mutual friend, and any person that takes the time to rescue dogs is going straight to heaven. I mean, because it's much like getting my podcast set up, which obviously I had a lot of grandpa moments this morning. I'm normally a punctual person, but even with us prepping, we prepped for this. So it was a lot of work going into it, but there's so much work that goes into rescuing dogs. You're rescuing dogs. You're a pilot. That just blows my mind altogether. Because I always talk about I want a plane. I'm willing a Learjet with the Wolfkeeper on the side.
Oh, there you go.
Jet with the Wolfkeeper on the side. I'm willing
to
go big. But you're flying. You're out there flying around, rescuing dogs, running a business, and just being fabulous. Like, tell us, man, how give the world, let the world know who is Chris Doobert.
Yeah, so Doobert's the name of the company. He was actually a cat that I had. And so when I was developing the animal rescue software to connect the volunteers with the rescues and shelters, I could think of no better name than Doobert, since he was an amazing cat that I had rescued. He's gone now, but his memory lives on in the company. So I've tried to really just make it easy. So if you go to doobert.com, then people can sign up as a volunteer. They can be a driver, a foster, in-person volunteer. There's lots of things they can do. And then the rescues and shelters sign up, and then basically we're helping to bring the two of them together. So as you said, I kind of got into it being a pilot myself, and that's where it all took off.
Oh, man, I love that. That's super cool. But then because I'm a cat person, people don't know that I have a cat named Buddha. And a lot of times, for some reason, people don't think that guys love cats.
Right.
And I didn't know that, Toriano.
What?
I didn't know you had a cat.
Yeah. You knew that.
I didn't. Amongst all of your dogs, I thought it was just strictly dogs. Learn something new every day.
I was going to say, he's got one cool cat to go along
one
with
cool cat amongst all the dogs. It's almost like the only girl amongst all the boys.
There's a kid. No, his name is Buddha. So, I mean, but I don't even know where I'm so pumped up. I've been wanting to talk to you, but where do we even start? Let's start with just, man, okay, we got 3 parts. We got to talk about just your background. Then we're going to go, how did you decide to fly a plane? That just blows. I mean, we know that, they figured out how to make that thing stay in the air, but you fly one of those. And then we're going to talk about flying around getting cats. So, like, what's your background? Like, where are you from, college, all that stuff, married, kids?
Yeah. I'm happy to tell you about me. So I So I used to be an Army brat. My dad was in the Army. So I was born in New Jersey, and we moved around a couple of times. And I actually came up to Marquette here in Milwaukee, Marquette University, where I went to school. And after that, I decided to stick around Milwaukee. And so my background is technology. So I'm an IT guy.
Okay.
Background-wise, big projects, stuff like that for big companies. And
Okay.
that's what I still do in my day job. I manage a big portfolio of projects, about $110 million of projects every year.
Wow.
That are, it's a lot of stuff. And a global team, which is kind of cool. I get to have a team of people around the world, so get to connect with people from all sorts of different cultures and backgrounds. And so that's what I do in the day job.
So you're IT tech person. Like when you say tech, are we talking like front end tech, like your back end tech? Are you what component?
Yeah, of tech? So it's more the project management side. So I mean, more of the really keeping everything together, right? So we've got a lot of tech guys on our projects, right?
Okay.
Software engineers or infrastructure engineers, network guys. But I manage the project managers who are managing the rest of the stuff. So it's a lot more organization and just knowing the right questions to ask and solving problems. That's what I feel like I do all day long, is solve problems.
Okay, and this not a question for me, Chanel, because she read your bio. Are you married? She was
Yes.
married.
Yep, I'm married to a beautiful woman named Daphne, and
Daphne, I love that name.
Yeah, just think Scooby-Doo is what I always tell people, and we currently have 4 cats and 1 dog right now.
Yeah, that's so awesome. That's awesome. So where'd you meet Daphne?
So she and I met actually online, and we've been married now. We just had our 18-year anniversary a couple of days ago.
18
years?
18 years, yeah.
Beautiful.
Chanel, no home wrecking, girl. Back up.
There he goes, Chris. You see, I haven't said a thing.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, it's been a wild ride. I mean,
Wow. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
What's your anniversary date?
What's that?
What's your anniversary date?
July 27th.
No way.
Yeah, that's what I said. Just a couple of days ago was 18, so about a week ago, I guess it was. 18 years.
Very cool. Very cool. So IT during the day, that's a stressful world. Project manager for IT, so you're dealing with high stress, getting done, people coming in out of nowhere.
As I always say, the job of the project manager is all of the blame and none of the credit. Mm-hmm. That's the job you sign up for. So I was
telling Chanel about one of my favorite movies is Pirates of Silicon Valley.
No, I never saw that one.
No? Okay.
I haven't either.
With Chanel. Pirates of Silicon Valley is the story of it's the young Steve Jobs and Wozniak in their garage.
Oh yeah.
And then it's flashing back and forth it's the story between him and Bill Gates in the beginning. But Wozniak would be like, dude, we can't do that. I mean, Steve, one of my favorite scenes is where he was so nuts about the inside of what the Mac looked like, but no one could get in there. You need a special screwdriver to even get in this thing.
Yep.
It matters to me. He's like, but no one's gonna see it. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So you're managing people that are just brainiacs, the best of the world. And because that's Chanel's my project manager. I always try to give her pep talks and say you're my adult babysitter.
That's exactly. That's how I describe myself. It's at the end of the day, my wife says, "How was your day?" I'm like, "Fine." She's like, "What'd you do?" I'm like, "Nothing. I just told everybody else what to do." Right. and you're kind of an adult babysitter. And, I always say, bring me the problems, whatever the problems are, and I help them solve it. So
I love that. Whatever the problems are, Chris,
let's just work through it.
Can you do private coaching for Chanel to help her understand how to manage me?
I don't know. That sounds like a full-time job. Yeah.
We will not bully me this whole season. Okay, Toriano?
No, I'm not bullying. That's helping you. Chris, I'm not that. Okay, so that's your backdrop.
Yep.
That's awesome. So because I deal with IT people, that's a lot. So how did we get into learning? So how did you get to the point of hey, I want to fly?
Yeah, so So I live in Milwaukee, and I was many years ago, so 20, I don't know, probably 25 years ago. I was driving from Milwaukee to Chicago, actually, and a little airport right by the highway there, and a big sign said "Learn to fly here." And I thought, sure, why not? So I called the number, showed up at the airport, and little did I know that they were teaching how to fly gliders, which is basically airplanes without an engine. So that's where I started my flying career, was in gliders. And the cool part is they attach you to this big tow rope, and the other plane pulls you up, and then you release the tow rope and you try and stay up there. It's the closest thing to being a bird that there is. And so I kind of started there, and from there I just kept going into more and more complex airplanes, and it's become a passion of mine.
Nice. So you just do private planes, or?
Yeah. So for me, right. Yeah, I'm in a club up here. So we've got about 45 members of our club that, we own 2 planes as a club, right?
Okay.
So we kind of, basically I can just take off and go anywhere. And that's kind of how I got into the animal rescue side. Was one of the rescue people that we knew said, "Hey, can you fly down to Kentucky and pick up these dogs?" And I was like, an excuse to go flying and I get to play with dogs? Like, sign me up, why not?
2 birds with 1 stone, right?
Yeah. I totally didn't know what it was all about. I didn't have a clue. So I flew down there and picked up these dogs and brought them back to a different rescue in Milwaukee. And, they were clapping and cheering and so excited. And we were saving these dogs. I'm like, I didn't even get it.
Freaking awesome.
And that's half the battle too, because a lot of people go, they travel via car with animals, when they're transporting. So, trying to meet those requirements is trying to, get them on the plane. And I don't like the idea of putting the dogs under the plane.
Oh, for sure.
I know there are other airlines that has weight requirements, but it's like, but what about the big dogs? Because I know my dog, he's about 30 pounds, and I don't think he meets the weight requirements. So that'll be perfect. If you should start that up, like have a special airline for the pups.
Yeah, there was one that started a couple of years ago called Pet Airways.
I remember that.
Yeah, and he was trying to restart again when I talked to him a year ago, but it's hard. I mean, you're moving sentient beings, right? Like they're living, breathing creatures, and
not knowing how they're going to react to it either. Too.
Yeah. For the most part, I mean, whenever I've flown dogs, they usually just, as soon as you fire up the engine, they usually just lay down and go to sleep. That constant droning, and I've had a few of them. They look out the window and they kind of got this quizzical look on their face, like, "What the heck am I doing?"
Are they used to the point? Where are they in crates? Where they?
It depends, right? So with puppies and stuff, certainly we put them in crates because they tend to get all over the place. But the bigger dogs, you just put them in a harness and, run the seatbelt, put them on the back seat, and they just, for the most part, they just kind of sit there.
Really?
That's really cool. I think Bentley would want to sit in the front. He always likes sitting in the front.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
even in the car. Yeah. Right. Even in the car, we're sitting in the back seat with this dog in the front seat. Like, this is not right. He's way too spoiled.
What kind of plane is this, Chris?
So for the most part, these are small single engine planes, like a little Cessna. We're not flying these big, jets or cargo planes or anything like that. These are just the smaller general aviation planes. But
now, can you fly anything?
No, so I mean planes. I mean, think about there's different ratings, as they call it, right? So kind of like different levels of training. So you start out in small single engine planes, then you can move into multi-engine, right, where there's 2 engines. Then you get into bigger ones, and then when you start flying jets, you need what they call a turbine rating, because a jet engine operates very differently than a propeller. And so there's lots of different levels and ratings and stuff that you get depending on the type of aircraft and whether you're just flying yourself or you're flying for hire, stuff like that.
Okay. But do you own your plane?
Yeah, so I'm in a club. So So I am, as I like to say, I'm the proud 145th owner of 2 planes.
Very cool.
Yeah, so flying's very expensive.
Yeah.
Airplanes, even the small ones like what I fly, they have to have an annual inspection, by FAA rules, and an annual inspection on a single engine plane will cost you about 3,000 to 4,000. That's just you got to have that every year. Then you obviously got hangar, you got, aviation fuel is still, I mean, it's cheaper, right, as gases, but it's still at $4.50, $5 a gallon.
Wow.
And yeah, when you're burning, 10 gallons in a single engine, you're probably burning 10 to 15 gallons an hour. And then you've got hangar costs and insurance, and it's a very expensive hobby. So
Yeah.
to have a purpose, to be able to go fly and get dogs, makes it a lot more worthwhile for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's good. You can.
Out of curiosity, Chris, how much would it cost just to buy a plane like it's yours by yourself?
So if you bought a brand new Cessna, right? So in 2020 bought a brand new Cessna, you're looking about 200 grand. And then but planes are a little bit different than cars, right? I mean, there's an annual inspection every year. They're constantly serviced. So even the planes in our club, one of them is a 1977 Cessna. And then we've got another one that's a Piper Cherokee that's I think it's a 78 or 79, right? So they last a long time. The airframe, right, the outer parts of the plane, really, as long as you take good care of it, it'll last a long time. It'd be kind of like you can replace the engine in a plane, kind of like you could replace the engine in a car. And if you took care of the car, right, there's really nothing else that you need to do. So, so planes will last a long time. And if you were to buy like an older Cessna now, you get them 30, 40 grand, about the price of a car. But a brand new one, fresh off the factory, would be about 200 grand.
And then what are you talking about monthly maintenance?
So, if you're hangaring it, your hangar is probably about $500 a month, right? Just to have a nice temperature controlled place to park it. You've got insurance. Insurance could be, depending on your level of experience, call that another $100 a month. And then, like I said, there's that annual inspection. So even if you said that was $300 a month, right? Because you're planning on once a year, it gets pretty expensive pretty fast. So you could be looking at $1,000 a month before you even fire up the engine.
And that doesn't include fuel.
Right. And then you start paying, as soon as you fire it up, right, now you're paying for fuel and oil and stuff like that. So it's definitely not a cheap hobby. Most of the people that own planes actually have their own companies, and so they use that to really offset the cost of it.
Okay. So you should be factoring easy 20 grand a year to maintain your plane.
That's probably a little bit much, but it's probably, you're probably not too far off. I was going to say probably 15, so I guess you're probably not that far off, right? Because you also, every so many 100 hours, you actually have to do an engine overhaul, right? Like they literally tear apart the engine and rebuild it. There's always something. Planes are like cars, right? There's always something that's breaking or needs to be fixed. But as I always remind people, I'm like, the difference with a car is, something goes wrong, you just pull over to the side of the road, right? Well, something goes wrong when you're in the air, 5,000 feet up. You're going to come down one way or another, but hopefully you come down controlled. That's the goal.
So when your club that you're in, are other people into the rescuing, or
there's been a couple. I mean, primarily it's something I do. There's a lot of other people, obviously, across the country that do this. The other members of my club, I would say they're not as passionate about animals as I am. So for me, it gives me a purpose to go flying, which I love. I get to go to different parts of the Midwest, right? So I'll fly, Wisconsin out to, eastern side of Iowa, obviously Illinois and Indiana, and even Ohio. But beyond that, right, I'm not going to be flying all the way down to, say, Georgia or something like that. But I get to check out lots of different airports, meet lots of really different cool people, and help lots of dogs.
Wow, that is. So what went through my mind? So how far will you fly?
Yeah, so for me, I always say about 200 nautical miles, right? So The furthest I've gone was down to northern Kentucky from Milwaukee. So if you straight line that, that was about just shy of 3 hours of flying each way. So 6 hours of flying in one day is a lot, right? A lot of stress on you. I mean, it's kind of like 6 hours of driving, right? Just you know, there's a lot more going on when you're flying. So it's
and
it's just
the pups as well.
Yeah, and you're trying to make sure. I always take, you know, either my wife or I take someone else to go with me as kind of like my attendant, because, you know, particularly with puppies are always fun because they find a way. If I use one of the soft-sided crates, right, they always find a way to get their little paw in there and push the zipper. And next thing you know, you got a couple of puppies running around the inside of the plane.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
So how many puppies have you had in the plane all at once?
Probably about 24.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a couple of different crates full. We had a couple of bigger dogs harnessed into the back seat. And, you know, for the most part, again, the puppies take a nap. But if one of them gets out, you know,
you guys have a party.
Yeah, they all get out. Well, it's all fun and games until they start getting up underneath your feet and, you know, climbing all over.
Yeah.
So, and puppies are funny because, you know, I mean, puppies get sick.
They're so cute, right?
Yep, they get sick and they urinate and they do all sorts of nice smelling stuff.
Yeah.
You can't really
just
open up a window.
Or pull over.
Right. Yeah, there was one rescue I did. So we actually met up with another pilot in Chicago area, and you know, he was bringing them to me, and I was taking them flying back to Wisconsin. And the puppies had, you know, one of them got sick and puked all over, and of course, then they're all in it.
Aww,
so we had this little conveyor system of people that we were taking them, we were washing them, someone else was drying them, we were putting them, you know, taking them from one plane, washing them, drying them, putting them in the other plane. We had about 10 people going. It was pretty fun to see all these puppies. We're handing them, washing them, going to the next one, and loading them up the next plane for the next part of their journey.
And you probably have asked this, so how big is the plane? Like, how many does it seat?
Sure. Yeah, so what I always tell people is think about like the inside of a car, right? That's like the inside of a small plane. You know, primarily like a two-door car, right? There's really not a lot of room. There is a cargo area, but it's not like you'd think on a cargo area in a bigger plane. It's a lot smaller and more designed for luggage and stuff like that. So, you know, in the Cessna that I fly, I mean, there's two doors, right? So you got to kind of flip the seat forward to get in the back seat. So you can get 4 adults in there generally. But then you're not going to have a lot of weight left to carry luggage and fuel and all this other stuff. And puppies, right. So we usually try and limit it to 2 adults and then a couple of crates of puppies and maybe a couple of dogs on the back seat.
Okay. And then can you tell us how the process works as far as like your rescuing? Do people call you and say, hey, we have a dozen puppies we want you to, you know, take over?
Yeah.
So how does the process work?
Sure, and that's kind of why I developed the Doobert software. Is the organization, so think rescues or shelters, when they've got a transport they need, they're basically putting in the request, kind of like you would put in a request in Uber, right? So they're just going to the website, they put in the request, the system will automatically notify the volunteers along that route, along that path.
Do you have an app?
Yep.
Do you have an app?
Yep,
oh,
there's
that's
an app
nice.
as well that they can use. So what the Doobert system does is it kind of takes the request from the rescues and shelters, and then we're notifying the volunteers, and then we're kind of marrying the two up, right? Because as you pointed out, there's both ground volunteers and pilots like myself. And so the system is trying to automate a lot of that to make it easy because, you know, I work a day job, right? So I can only go flying on the weekends. So I can control in the app the days of the week that I'm available and how far I can go. So I don't get transport requests from, say, California when I'm in Milwaukee. But yeah, they just put in the request. Like I said, kind of like you would be putting in an Uber request, and then the system will notify the volunteers and then manage them signing up for that particular transport.
Wow.
That's really cool. And then what's the app so we can put that in on the social media?
Yeah. So if you just, and the Doobert, it's just called the Doobert user app. So it's both on Apple and on the Google Play Store as well.
Perfect.
So people can sign up and be a volunteer. And, I tell people, like, it's a great, as drivers, right? You driver or pilot, but if you got a car, you can be an animal rescuer, because they're always need, as you pointed out, they always need transport.
Mm-hmm. And it's therapeutic too. Like, I know some people fly. I know it's a hobby for you when you fly. It can be therapeutic and driving also. So then you got the precious spirits of the dogs or the animals that you're rescuing to kind of help you through.
Lots of puppy kisses. I mean, it's weird. I will tell you, every animal I've rescued, it's like they know. They don't fully understand, but they know when they see you. They know that you're there to help them, and they are so grateful, and they're always full of love and affection, and they're just so happy to be out of whatever situation they're coming from. It's amazing to watch. I mean, when we've brought puppies up from as far south as Louisiana or Mississippi, and I'll take like one of the later legs, and in the winter, and it's the first time these puppies have seen snow, right?
Yeah.
So we let them play around in the snow, and they're kind of like, "What is this stuff? Like, this is kind of cool." And
it's so cute when because Bentley, he loves the snow. He will sit out there forever. I'm like, dude, it's cold.
Yeah. You and I are like, I'm like,
come on, right? We'll get about 15 minutes in, but we're dealing with Chicago's cold, and he just sits out there. Now the wintertime, when the summertime it's hot, he does not like the heat. So he's mostly inside in the summertime. I mean, we go for walks, but on those hot days, he's like, no, thank you. But in the winter with the snow, he's out there. Winter baby. So that's pretty cool though. I like, your business and how you put the two and two together. You're flying and rescuing dogs all at the same time. So that's really good.
Thanks.
It's really good.
You made me just think about too, but were you doing this during any of the tragedies such as Hurricane Katrina or the other big hurricane? Because I know that we brought a lot of dogs from the south to the north. Have you been a part of any of the catastrophes?
So not Katrina, but certainly after Harvey and what was the other one? Maria. There's a couple of them in the last few years. I mean, disaster transport's tough because there's not a lot, particularly with hurricanes, right? You might have a couple of days advance notice, but as I always try and tell people, I'm like, the people that are in the hurricane zone, they're trying to get themselves out. They're trying to get their families out. So it's hard to get them to go to a shelter and take a dog with them. Like my dream is always every car on the road, every plane in the sky, like they could be moving animals, and there's always a need to move animals from high kill shelters or just overpopulated situations.
No, you just made me think of something too. Like, wow, this is being involved in the pet industry for 20 years. A thing that we're constantly doing are moving dogs from point A to point B. I had a family just came out here from Rochester, New York, that flew out here, and then it was a lot of just different paperwork and challenges, especially right now with COVID, to fly the dog back from here to Rochester. So they opted to drive, but even driving with a dog, a 90-pound dog in a car from here to Rochester is not, it's sometimes more than the notion, because like sometimes the dog might get car sick. The dog, you guys talking about the dog has to have its own pit stops. You got to feed a dog on the road. I mean, all rest stops aren't friendly. There's a lot of different animal transport is a huge thing. And like, can you foresee, the Doobert empire becoming something like where it's moving dogs from point A to point B, not just only rescue, but in the breeding industry, there's tons of dogs, especially right now with COVID. We've seen an increase in dog sales and rescue sales, but where people are wanting dogs, like for example, a woman was trying to get this bull terrier, and the bull terrier was out in San Francisco. So to get that dog, no drive across state line either, with COVID, would that be something you'd be into? The spanning the empire?
Yeah, I mean, slowly. I mean, one of the big ones that we've taken on last year was there's a bunch of assistance dogs schools, right? So, for like blind dogs or blind people, right? So like guide dogs and stuff like that. So we started working with and supporting them. It's interesting. I mean, I see a lot of potential for this. The tricky part is right now, Doobert is, we have volunteers, right? We call them Dooberteers. And so it's tricky to figure out what volunteers are willing to support and not support. So I'm always careful to not promise somebody, like, I can't guarantee the transport's going to happen because it is volunteer based, right? And volunteers they are really particular about the situation they want to help with. So a lot of them are not interested in moving breeder dogs, which it's their call. Just like they're not interested in moving people's pets because they're still, snowbirds, right? I mean, we know from being up in cold climates, right? A lot of people go south for the winter, when they're retired and stuff like that. And they have, unless they drive themselves, right? How else do they get their animals, down to Florida or something like that?
Yeah.
With them. So there's a huge need for it. It's just tricky because when Doobert is software and we've just got volunteers, the volunteers are not always interested in every use case that there is to move an animal.
Well, so with Doobert, then, I'm sorry if I missed this in the beginning, if I'm asking the same question, but are you a nonprofit or are you a corporation?
So technically, I'm not a nonprofit because you can't own a nonprofit. So what Doobert is a social enterprise, right? So the idea being that any money that Doobert were to get was just going to go right back into running and building out the software. I tell people I work a day job so I can afford my nights and weekends job. But that's the goal is to connect people and all that. The goal is not to make money. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But social enterprise, is that a checkbox, like as far as like how you're set up?
Yeah. So the tricky part is when you look at the legal construct, right, of companies, there's really only two designations, right? There's for-profit and if you're not a for-profit and you apply to be a public charity, you can be a nonprofit, right? That's about the only determination. So there's a lot of technically for-profit companies that don't make profit or they put their profit back into their cause. So it gets kind of tricky when you talk about the legal side of it because, like I said, you can't own a nonprofit. A nonprofit is run by a board. And so in my case, when I was the only thing funding this, nobody wanted to give me money when it wasn't going to make any money. And I said, I still believe this is the right thing to do. So in order for me to be able to control the direction and not have somebody else take it away from me, I structured it as a for-profit because I can own that. Even though I'm not ever anticipating Doobert's going to make money. It's really, I'm hoping to be able to get it to break even so that it can pay its own bills. We're not there yet, but someday I hope to be able to get there.
You'll get there. You'll be there.
I hope so. Thanks.
You will definitely get there.
Because this isn't there were a couple other people in my tenure of doing this. I've heard that doing things similar, and then they do it, and it kind of goes away. And now you're the first person I've heard that has the technology with it. And you being that's so awesome because you're from a tech industry, and the pet industry definitely needs more tech interjected into it because it's still so virgin in so many areas of the digital landscape. But I totally foresee being a part of that because transportation is huge. I mean, whether it's breeder, whether it's a person with some pets, for example. A guy asked me on my friend Glenn Boykin in Dallas. He has a 10-year-old Cane Corso who has arthritis now, and I know the place to go is my friend Tom. Up in Mankato, Minnesota, who has a stadium-sized pool for a dog. I mean, I don't know anyone in the country really that has a stadium-sized pool, and also too, he has the underwater treadmills where the jets against the dog, and the dog is just no pressure. Yep. And I've seen the effects, but Tom is a guy that was in the hotel industry that decided to build a stadium pool for dogs. It basically is an indoor water park for dogs. I'm not even sure there's any. I've never heard of any other place like that in the country, but that would be great if someone was able to say, "Hey, baby, down in Dallas can be escorted, can fly up to Mankato, Minnesota, get therapy. That's going to help." Same thing here in Chicago. I mean, we have certain services. I mean, probably across the country, there's certain services you can't get that would help the dogs. That would be totally cool. To at one point where dogs traveled just as much as humans did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They do now. I mean, as we speak, there's thousands of dogs moving across. You know, they're in vehicles. I mean, and that's no joke. Riding with a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rode with a French bulldog that I had to bring down to Miami, and it was just. I mean, depending upon the dog, you just never know. Even the best trained dog, you just never know the stop, because you're talking about easy 5 extra stops for sure, 5 to 6 extra stops. Then you got to make sure they're cool, and then you're in there with their dandruff, doing the smell. It's and that's one dog. I mean, I had to my business partner and I, we had to drive to rural Minnesota. If he was here, he totally would like, yeah, that trip that Toriano had me on. But we went to where were we in I forget. It was some small. Put it this way, it was the directions to the town. At a certain point, it became make left at Big Tree. You're going to see Big Tree. Make right at Pickup.
Right.
And we got in there, and then we literally probably spent for sure about an hour just trying to get out of this town before we knew where we were going. And that was with 2 Labradors. It was the most grueling trip from Minnesota to Chicago. So I love this idea that you're doing, and I would love to be a part of like helping you expand that. Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Would you ever see? I'm putting you on the spot right now. But would you ever see like just writing a business plan, go get 5-10 million, if not more, and set up an actual doggy like airlines?
Yeah. So, like I said, the guy that was doing Pet Airways, he was trying to. When I talked to him a year ago, he was trying to raise 10 million. Didn't have a lot of success yet. I should reach back out and see if he's doing any better yet. But I'm guessing with COVID. What's that?
How long ago was that?
Well, so it was the same guy that had Pet Airways that shut it down in 2008 with the housing crisis, and then he's trying to raise 10 million again to bring it back. And I think the tricky part was, it would be $400 to $500, right? Kind of like an airline ticket to move an animal. I think the volume is out there. I think trying to find the people to pay for it is what he was really struggling with, the paying customers.
I definitely think that's a great idea, though. And the way that pet ownership now is so popular, and everybody wants to take their pup with them, I think that's a phenomenal idea, because I know it's a lot of times like this is my first time having a dog, and Toriano teases me because I treat him like a baby. But initially, like, he is my baby. It's like I don't want to leave him here, all the time when we're going on trips. But it's like, the airlines, a lot of times they kind of reject, having pups on planes. So, to have an airline for pups, puppies or, your pets specifically will be like, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, because the way they were doing it is they would have, a flight attendant who's also a vet tech, right, on every plane, and their job is they're just attending to the animals, right, on the flight. Yeah. And, he had it mapped out. I think there was like 18 airports across the country that, he had it all kind of planned out, right? And now it's just a matter of raising the money and to get all the planes and, get
just kind of collaborate with the flights that the owners are on. I think it's great. And I say go for it. Bentley will be on the plane. Yeah,
there you go.
And right? he's got to fly first class, though.
Of course.
With the finest dog treats.
I was going to say, our cats and our dog, they're like kings and queens in our house. I'm a second class citizen. I understand it. I'm good with it, because they're first.
Chris, so this is all going to happen. Are we looking at then Doobert Airlines?
Oh, I would love that. That would be amazing. We
put that in the air.
Yeah, I think it would be awesome. Doobert Air,
Doobert Air, I love it.
Yeah, my vision is that, people are finding the perfect pet for them, right? And we're getting it to them, right? Whatever shelter, rescue, whatever across the country. I mean, there's lots of animals out there, and find the perfect match for their family size and demeanor and all those other things. And then the hard part is getting them there. But as you mentioned, I mean, more and more people are traveling with their pets. I mean, I've got a good friend of mine runs GoPetFriendly.com, which is all about, showing you pet-friendly hotels and restaurants and stuff like that. So, like, if you're taking a road trip, not every hotel will take them. So, but it's changing. That's the cool part.
It's definitely changing. It's like you see, your pets everywhere, and there's a lot of people that has them for like emotional support. So it's for lack of better words, it's trending. I think everybody's like, oh, I want a dog. So it's more families that are engaging with pets, and I think that kind of having the necessities and everything to kind of follow up behind it, because it's like they're little humans. I didn't realize how much work it was to be a pet owner. I'm like, okay, yeah, you can leave them in the house, but then it's like I don't want to leave them in the house because who wants to be in the house alone by themselves all the time?
gotta get them a friend. You gotta have them
right. Right. So yeah, Bentley's always with me. So I think that'll be a phenomenal idea. I think what you've done, what you're doing already is great. The combination of flying and, rescuing pets, all of that is great.
Thanks.
Where should people find you? Where's the best place? What's the best website, and what's the app?
Yeah, so it's really easy. It's just Doobert.com, Doobert.com. They go there. They can learn more about Doobert. They can read the story of Doobert. They can sign up. And then if you just search for Doobert in the App Store, you'll find the mobile app as well, so they can download that there as well.
Or in the Apple App Store, and are you also Google Play?
Yep, absolutely, both.
Awesome. So Chris Roy, you're amazing. I gotta put you on the spot one more time before we close this show, because we've booked. Once again, thank you to Dana Humphrey, who is an amazing co-producer. Thank you to Chanel Barrage for also being an amazing co-producer. Thank you to Rejoice Faith Mendez for all your hard work, and everyone else that is following together, the whole Wolfkeeper team, the whole family. Thank you for everyone who made this show possible. But we have August booked, we have September booked, we have the whole year booked. It's 12 o'clock. And I'm putting you on the spot right now. Question. It's just yes or no. Pressure's on. You started off August 1st, 2020. You're the leadoff pitcher, leadoff batter. Can we rebook you right now for January 1st, 2020?
You got it. I'll be here.
2021.
2021. Got to get the year right. Absolutely. No, I absolutely. I love what you're doing. I'm appreciative that you're having me on to spread the word and get more people excited about helping.
Hey, man.
Thank you so much, Chris.
I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody. Hey, tune in every day, 11 a.m. We're going hard. Some people are doing podcasts once a month, once a week, but we're going every day. Make sure we're doing 365 days. And right now, if you're seeing this show, then you know that Chris, my man, my brother, the hermano, is going to start off January 1st, 2021. That's the next time you're going to hear him on this show. But you can hear this rebroadcast on all of our podcast systems, on iTunes, on Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, and everywhere. Thank you all. Y'all have an amazing Saturday. Go out there, love somebody, be good to somebody. Remember, there's only one alpha dog, and that's you, Toriano Sanzone. Peace.
Thank you, Chris. Peace and love, guys.
Peace and love.
Welcome to the Wolfkeeper, a show that's just about everything that you could maybe think about, everything that you can feel that's inside of your heart. What I need for you to do right now is spend the next hour relaxing. Just stop your day before you go into 12 o'clock. And I just want y'all to close your minds, open your hearts, and relax and go on this journey with me. It's a beautiful place that you're about to go. Cause I wanna make you feel, I wanna just open you up and think about some things you never really thought about. Right now, the Wolfkeeper. Come on. Good morning, y'all. Come on. It's the Wolfkeeper Show. Get ready. Come on, let's go. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. It's the Wolfkeeper Show. Your boy, Toriano, Sanzone. Yeah. Chanelly Nell. My boy Tyrone Scott somewhere rocking the Doogie Dogs. Denzel's in his house. Shacky Shack. And for all the people out there that love us, we love you back. Thank you all. Get ready for an amazing show with the Wolfkeeper. Get ready. Here we go.